It's time for Recipe of the Day. Happy Friday. We made it, and I'm celebrating with something delicious but easy. I don't know about you, but I love having steak on Friday. It's just so easy to do, whether you're doing it on the grill or on the stove. Very, very easy. I often do like some baked potatoes with them. My favorite way to do baked potatoes, by the way, which is not a recipe on the website anywhere. I need to put it up somewhere, is to do them in the microwave first until they're tender. And then I cut them in half, rub them all over with oil and salt, and then I put them in the air fryer until the skins get really crispy. They are the best. So doing those potatoes, super hands-off and easy. The steaks are going to be done really quickly, and then it's just like a salad or a quick veg. Dinner is served and everybody's happy because it's delicious steak, right? So today I'm telling you one of my favorite ways to do a New York strip steak on the stovetop. As is often the case for me, this one is just seasoned with salt. Now you can do it just before you cook it, or I quite often will put whatever kind of steak I'm making on a metal rack over a pan or plate. So season it with salt, then put it on the rack, then put it in the fridge for a few hours. That just lets that salt kind of penetrate. It does that dry brining thing, I guess, and it is just extra flavorful to do that, or you just season them right before. But this recipe not only has the salt, it also has some fresh rosemary and thyme and garlic cloves with some butter that you add as the steak is cooking. And then the butter kind of picks up the flavors of the herbs and the garlic. And then when you flip the steak, that is all going on there. And then at the end, after you take the steak out, you scrape all the butter that's all flavored so good into a little ramekin to serve on the side for dipping, or you could drizzle it over those baked potatoes. It's going to be an amazing dinner. Okay, so we are starting with 2 New York strip steaks that are about 3/4 pound each and about 1 inch thick. Not more than that because we're doing the whole thing on the stove. When my steaks tend to get thicker than that, I like to do them partly in the oven so that they don't brown or darken too much before they get to the temperature I want on the inside. So we want 1 inch or less thick, and then you're using about 1 teaspoon of salt sprinkled all over the 2 steaks on all sides. I even do the edge sides, because I love that edge outside of the steak and I want it to have flavor as well. Then set those aside. Now I know a lot of people say that you should bring your steaks up to room temperature before cooking them, but you've heard me talk about this before. It is kind of a myth depending on how well done you like your steaks. If you want your steak well done, then sure, let it come up to room temperature first, and it's going to get to the temperature you want inside a little bit more quickly before the outside burns. Okay, so that is totally a thing you can do, medium well or well done steaks. However, if you like your steak medium or medium rare, your goal is to get the steak to have contact with the heat for as long as possible on the outside so that you get that nice caramelization and crust outside before the steak gets too well done in the middle. So actually having a cold steak, cold from the fridge, is going to keep that middle rarer for longer so you can get more of that crust on the outside. So don't leave them out for a long time. You are sprinkling them with salt, and then you're either putting them in the fridge for a while, or you are leaving them for just a minute while you get your pan and other ingredients ready. You're going to heat a large skillet over medium-high heat. I have this really big cast iron skillet that I like to use for this. So that's 2 tablespoons of olive oil or whatever cooking oil you want over medium-high heat until it's nice and shimmering. And then those salted steaks go in there and you just leave them cooking undisturbed until a nice crust forms underneath. It's going to be a good 2 minutes. Then around and in between your steaks, you're adding 5 tablespoons of salted butter, 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary, 3 sprigs of fresh thyme, and 3 garlic cloves that you have smashed and peeled. So take the peel off and smash them, or smash them down first so they're flat, and the peel then kind of comes away. And those smashed cloves of garlic and those sprigs of herbs go right in there, in around the steaks with that butter. And I like to use some tongs here to kind of like be tossing the herbs and the garlic with the butter as it's melting into the pan, and you're kind of moving it around. Okay, then when we're going to flip the steaks, we're flipping the steaks over and kind of like tilting the pan to get some of that now flavored butter underneath the steaks. reduce the heat down to medium now because we don't want the butter to burn. And you're going to keep cooking the steaks until they are your desired doneness. For medium, it's going to be about 3 to 4 minutes more. If you want them less well done than medium, it will be less. If you want them more well done than medium, it will be more. And as that's happening, those 3 to 4 minutes, you could be using a spoon to baste the tops of the steaks with that delicious butter. When the steaks are done to your desired doneness level, which you are finding out just because you know, or you're touching them and doing that touch test, or maybe you've got a probe thermometer or an instant read thermometer in there so you know it's at the temperature that you like, then you transfer the steaks to a cutting board, let them rest there for 5 minutes. And what you're going to do is you're going to use those tongs to take the rosemary, thyme, and garlic cloves out of the skillet. If some bits of garlic are still in the pan or the odd leaf of rosemary or thyme, that is fine. Leave that be. You just took out like the twiggier bits of the herbs and those big garlic cloves. Take those out. And then you're going to use a rubber spatula to scrape all that butter and pan juices from your skillet into a little ramekin or a heat-safe bowl because that butter is really hot. And then that is getting served on the side of your steak for dipping, or like I said, drizzle it on your potatoes or your broccoli or your green beans, whatever you're having. It's going to be delicious on there. And then, yeah, you're either serving the steaks whole, or after they've rested for 5 minutes, you can slice them thinly against the grain and dig in for your special Friday steak dinner. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for today's podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is May 9th of 2025. And if you are not already subscribed to this podcast, what are you waiting for? Do it now. Just get out your phone, go to your favorite podcast app, search for Recipe of the Day. You will find me there. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.